As the great emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be one." In this video, I'll explain how to let a guy see what you're really worth. The main thing to understand is that a woman can't just tell a man her value. Instead, it's up to the man to figure it out himself. Men don't think through to understand a woman's worth. They have to feel it. If you've tried to tell a man how valuable you are, you know it doesn't help. In fact, it might make him think less of you. This video will show you 10 ways to show your worth to a man without needing to say anything. First, I want to make it clear that just showing a man how worthy you are won't make him like you. There are other factors that make a man interested. While showing your worth won't change a man's mind if he's not into you, it will earn his respect and help you keep your self-respect. But if he's already interested, you'll really catch his attention because you'll be different from many women who don't know how to show their worth properly. Often, a man might first be attracted to a woman by her looks, but then lose interest if she doesn't seem to value herself. The kind of self-worth that matters here isn't about things like financial success. A man might notice if a woman doubts her financial abilities, but that doesn't make her less attractive. What really catches a man's attention is how a woman sees herself deserving a good man in her life. Now, let's go over how to show a man your true worth. First rule: before trying to impress a man, be sure you understand your own worth. Ask yourself, do you really know how valuable you are? Often women think they do, but when faced with rejection or criticism, their confidence and self-set limits can vanish. This happens because they weren't truly aware of their worth. Understanding your worth well means you're always confident, you're sure about yourself, and it's a deep feeling inside. Not many people can honestly say they know their worth. It's not about being loud or claiming to have high self-esteem. If you're unsure about your self-worth, there are ways to discover your true feelings about yourself. A good way to start is by looking at your past actions. Check if you tolerated too much nonsense or you let people treat you poorly. Also think if you stayed in harmful relationships where you were mistreated. These are clear signs you didn't understand your value. Even if you now recognize bad situations better, but still find yourself putting up with nonsense when you like someone, it shows you haven't fully learned your lesson and don't fully believe in your worth. As the Stoic philosophers teach us, the true measure of our worth lies not in the external validation or the opinions of others, but in our own understanding and acceptance of ourselves. Remember, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius. This means that living in accordance with your own values and beliefs, being true to yourself, and not compromising your self-worth for external approval, is the essence of a fulfilling life. Second rule: if you get upset when guys don't treat you well, even though you believe you should be treated better. I've met many women who believed they had improved themselves, knew they were valuable, and wanted to be treated right. But they got really mad when some men didn't treat them nicely. So, I'm saying this: if you're still upset about your worth and how men see it, you don't fully understand your worth yet. A big sign of really knowing your worth is staying calm and unaffected by anything that challenges your belief in your value. Women who truly know their worth don't get upset when some men fail to recognize it. They understand that it's normal for some men not to see their value, but there are also many who will. Another way to understand how you feel about yourself is to find a quiet place and ask yourself, what is my worth? While asking, try to feel what's happening in your body and pay attention to your emotions. If you feel uncomfortable or unsure, it shows you need to work on boosting your confidence. If you feel hurt or angry, It suggests there are past hurts you haven't gotten over. Remember, it's very important to know your worth before dating. You can dress well and act confidently, but without a strong sense of self-worth, men will notice, and it will affect their first impression of you. As Epictetus wisely stated, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." If your peace and self-value are shaken by how others treat you, it's a sign to refocus on your internal compass. True self-worth is unshakable, not contingent on recognition or treatment by others. It's about knowing and holding on to your value, even in the face of indifference or disrespect. This inner strength and confidence are what ultimately shape how you are perceived and treated. Remember, your worth is defined by you and you alone. Third rule, act as if you really mean what you say and care about yourself. If you want others to believe you're valuable, you have to behave like you think you're valuable too. This includes deserving respect, love, appreciation, and the best in life. Ask yourself, do you appear to be a person who loves and values themselves? Are you someone who treats themselves well? Do you seem like a person who respects themselves? Rule 34 from The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene suggests that to be respected like a leader, you need to act like one. This means your behavior and the way you show yourself to the world affects how others treat you. People react to your vibe. If you behave like you're destined for big things, this feeling spreads to others around you. They'll start thinking there's a good reason for your self-confidence. Similarly, people can sense if you don't respect yourself, which shows in how you dress, what you eat, how you spend money, and how you let others treat you. It's important to truly believe in your own value. To get men to value you, start by valuing yourself. This means doing nice things for yourself, so men will want to do them for you too. Like, if you want a man to give you great gifts, first buy good things for yourself, as long as it's within your budget. Always treat yourself with the best you can afford. And if you want to go out for fancy meals, you should eat well and care about your health. Also, go out to nice places by yourself sometimes. For instance, have lunch at a nice restaurant, which is less expensive than dinner and works well if you're alone. Fourth rule, don't be too easy to get. Show that spending time with you is something special. A good way to do this is by dressing nicely, maybe a little sexy, but not showing too much. This shows you don't just give away parts of yourself for nothing. Also, don't say yes right away to things, especially big steps. For instance, don't go to a guy's place on the first few dates. Wait a bit before getting intimate, like a month or more, especially if you're unsure. Never send sexts or nudes, as it's like sharing your private self. Don't invite men to your home until you're in a real relationship. Meet them in public places instead. Even in a relationship, they shouldn't come over too much. Visit their place more. Your time and attention should be hard to get and saved for men who really put effort into being with you. Epictetus, a wise Stoic philosopher, said, "No great thing is created suddenly." This reminds us that building a meaningful connection takes time and effort. Just as great achievements are not accomplished overnight, genuine relationships require patience and mutual respect. Your worth is significant, and by taking time to reveal it, you encourage others to appreciate its depth and sincerity. Fifth rule, instead of telling men your limits, show them through your actions. It's better not to say your boundaries out loud. Don't say things like, "If you do this, I'll do that," or "I deserve more." Most of the time, people already know the usual boundaries. There are only a few that are really unique to each person, so it's not necessary to explain them. They should understand these general limits already. Your attitude should clearly show that you take your personal boundaries very seriously and won't make exceptions for anyone. This should discourage men from trying to overstep your boundaries. However, you need to be alert for any signs that someone is trying to push these boundaries. Men often test women to see what they can get away with, thinking they can easily back off without consequences, as this often works with others. But you need to react differently and stand strong. You show you mean business with your boundaries by simply leaving, making them wonder if they've lost you for good. You don't ask for apologies or explain why they're wrong. You don't argue, you just go, making it clear you won't stand for it by taking yourself away. What they do next is up to them. If he really cares, he'll come back, asking for another chance, knowing not to take you lightly this time. Only then should you explain what boundary he crossed. 6th rule: always be ready to leave. Showing a man that you can leave at any moment increases your value. This is like the last point, but broader. You should be prepared to leave for many reasons, not just when boundaries are crossed. If a woman isn't willing to walk away, she's not valuing herself enough, as she's compromising her standards to stay in a relationship. There are many reasons to leave, like if the guy is abusive, dishonest, has mental health issues, is unfaithful, or sends mixed messages. The best choice is to walk away when staying means losing your self-respect. What I mean is, don't start a relationship thinking it has no conditions. Enter with the attitude that you can leave, even if you really like the guy. However, once you're in a stable relationship, don't always think about leaving immediately when things aren't perfect. Otherwise, you'll never develop a meaningful relationship. However, you should always remember that leaving is an option. Most strong marriages work because there are conditions, even if they're not obvious. This actually strengthens the relationship by keeping both people, especially men, accountable. Generally, men should feel from you that you won't stick around in every situation, no matter what. I understand that most of us were taught to believe that if you show a man you'll always be there for him and offer endless loyalty, he'll love you more. However, this is just a fantasy and not true. 7th rule: focus on what he does, not what he says. Remember, in today's world, a man's words can be the least valuable thing he offers. Everything must be backed up by actions. So, if a man compliments you, ask him, "How will you prove that? Can I trust what you say? How do I know it's true?" Understand that men are aware there are two kinds of women: those who are moved by sweet talk and those who are high value. Knowing words mean little and watching what men actually do. So, when men meet women who clearly focus on actions rather than just words, they realize they're dealing with a woman of high value. Also, it's important to note that a high-value woman doesn't demand things from a man. Demanding often comes from frustration and feeling that it's not enough. Instead, high-value women observe actions closely. If these actions don't match the words or are missing, they simply leave the situation. 8th rule: be a bit doubtful. Being too innocent isn't a sign of being high value. Showing you're a bit doubtful shows your worth. There are lots of liars and scammers out there, so if you value yourself, you need to be somewhat doubtful. This helps you make smart choices and avoid the nonsense. What does it mean to have a good level of doubtfulness? It means you're not too trusting, but also not always thinking the worst. It's about knowing when it's okay to relax and not be doubtful. It shows that being doubtful isn't something you do all the time or a mental issue you have. For instance, you don't need to doubt everything always, but if you hear something that seems unrealistically perfect, like it's out of a fairy tale or just odd, then it's okay to be doubtful and question a man directly about it. If you're skeptical, It tells a man you're not naive, thinking the world is perfect and everyone is kind and caring. You can either just challenge his words, or you can even ask him politely to prove his claims when you're unsure. By being doubtful, you show you're not easily fooled. You show that you think things through, use your judgment, and don't just accept everything at face value. You also display your personality by not being scared to express unhappy feelings or engage in tough talks, even if it might upset some people, because finding out the truth is important. So ladies, practice doubtfulness, but do it in a balanced and reasonable way. 9th rule: be ready to refuse things, even if it means the man might leave. If you respect yourself, you'll often need to say no. This includes saying no to things like getting intimate too soon, sexting, sending nude photos, or doing household chores like you're his spouse, among other things that a respectful, serious man wouldn't ask of you. Through my experience, I've observed that women who are usually confident and assertive find it hard to say no only when they are interested in a man. Women who aren't very into the man they're with usually find it easier to refuse. Time and again, I've seen women bend their own rules for a guy they're attracted to, believing he could be the one and that this might be their shot at happiness. However, this is often not the case. Men who ask you for things they shouldn't be asking typically do so because they aren't worried about losing you. This means they don't value you as much as you value them, and their intentions might not be genuine. So, compromising your standards in the hope of winning their affection is undervaluing yourself, and it's not worth it. Never agree to do something you know you shouldn't, even if it's from a man you're very interested in and see as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. 10th, never chase after a man. This is a crucial measure of your self-worth. You might demonstrate your value and all the qualities we've talked about, but if a man starts to pull away and you respond by chasing or even just moving closer to him, it immediately lowers your self-worth. A truly valuable person doesn't respond to someone withdrawing by running after them. A woman of worth doesn't make up reasons for a man's behavior or create stories to explain why he's distancing himself. 11th rule: embrace your individuality and uniqueness. Remember, your worth doesn't just lie in how you relate to others, especially men, but also in your unique qualities and experiences. It's essential to recognize and celebrate what makes you different. This could be your hobbies, your career, your sense of humor, or even your perspective on life. When you embrace and showcase these aspects of yourself, it not only increases your self-esteem, but also attracts those who appreciate you for who you truly are. This rule is about not just being another person in a crowd, but someone who stands out because of their genuine self-expression and confidence in their individuality. 12th rule: prioritize your well-being and happiness. It's crucial to understand that your self-worth is also tied to how you treat and regard yourself. This means making decisions that prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Whether it's pursuing activities that make you happy, investing time in self-care, or making healthy lifestyle choices, these actions reinforce the belief that you are valuable and deserving of the best. Furthermore, when you're visibly taking care of yourself, it sends a message to others, including potential partners, that you value yourself highly. This self-respect and happiness are inherently attractive and can lead others to value and respect you more. A self-respecting woman isn't scared to see the truth clearly and understand that a man distancing himself probably isn't interested. This kind of woman values herself more than her feelings for someone else. Her sense of self-worth gives her the power and bravery to move on, even if she likes the person. And that's the wrap-up of our video. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative. Don't hesitate to leave comments, share your own stories, and express your thoughts. Thanks once again for tuning in.